pay them on the basis of a formula which involves their investment and their costs. Now, I don't think that regulation is cost plus, although a lot of you might think that. I mean, I understand that. It's close, but it's not quite that. But it's certainly not inducement to efficiency. It's not inducing utilities to be innovative or any of the things that we are now asking them to do. So we need to change this. Now, what's the goal of all this? Well, there's another model that ends up in the top quadrant. There it is, called an energy service utility. This utility would be motivated not by the asset investment, but by the value they provide to customers. The kind of things that motivate you guys, to be honest. They're not in the sales of commodity, they're in the provision of services. Now, exactly how that's interpreted is open to a lot of discussion, but that's, in many people's view, where we want to end up with today's utilities. Peter Fox Penner wrote the book 4 years ago, 4 years ago, called Smart Power. If you haven't read it, it's worth a read. And in it, he posits that that's the future of the electric utility business. Those who will survive will become energy services utilities. Now, Chuck Goldman at LBNL and many others argue that what we're looking for is a movement from the traditional IOU up to the energy services utility. I agree, but the work I've been doing, the advocacy I've had lately, argues that the way to get there is to move from the traditional model to a performance-based regulatory model first. That's something we know how to do. We did it in the telecommunications industry. As competition became dominant in that industry, we left cost of service regulation for the telcos. We've left almost all regulation of the telcos now, but in this stage, we moved to a price cap regime. And then the move up to the energy services utility is much easier to make once you have moved off of today's set of motivations that regulation provides. I think this is a coming trend. I'm hoping that we get there soon enough with a modification of the regulatory regime so that utilities are able to thrive and meet the obligations that we have for them as a society.